Call the planning and zoning meeting to order. Will everybody still stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call. Marcus Major.
Here.
Jaden Bailey.
Here.
Alan Stork. Absent. William Gutchalk.
Here.
Jeff Speak.
Here.
Doug Tysted. Absent. Robert Owens.
Here.
Steve Skeet. Absent. Will Smith.
Here.
And I'm here, Steve Rosenthal. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
7. That's correct.
I can count. Approval of the minutes for April.
So move.
Second.
Who seconded? Marcus? I have a motion on the floor with second to approve April minutes. Is there any discussion? A roll call vote. Marcus Major.
Yes.
Jaden Bailey.
Yes.
Alan Stork. Oh, not here. William Gutchalk.
Yes.
Jeff Speak.
Yes.
Robert Owens.
I always have to abstain. I wasn't here, Steve.
Okay. Steve Skeet's not here. Will Smith.
Yes.
Okay, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Secretary's report.
All right. Good evening, everyone. For the Secretary's report, you do not have anything on your consent agenda. There was one error on the regular agenda, so I just wanted to make it noted so we can fix it in regards to minutes and all that. Under number C, case DEV 23025, it should say Horses and Heroes, Inc., not Horses for Heroes. So that correction will need to be made. And in addition to that, case number A, there is another request to table Highland Meadows, this time to the June 14th meeting.
Okay.
That changes the
Anything
meaning
else?
a little bit, doesn't
We
it?
have a work session after this,
We do have a work session after this, yep.
and that's going to be streamed live also, correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. Any declarations, anyone? I have a motion on the agenda.
So move.
Second.
Marcus again.
Yes, sir.
Got a motion on the floor and a second to approve the agenda. Any discussion? A roll call vote. Marcus Major.
Yes.
Jaden Bailey.
Yes.
William Gutchalk.
Yes.
Jeff Spink.
Yes.
Robert Owens.
Yes.
Will Smith.
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6-0. Okay. Leavenworth County Planning Commission will now consider case number DEV 22-156, special use permit for excavation of raw materials site and landfill for the soil fill borrow site and clean rubble landfill as outlined in the posted agenda. Does require a public hearing. However, the public hearing was open and closed on January 11, 23. Planning Commission meeting. Staff report.
All right. Good evening again. We are here to discuss case DEV 22-156, which, as mentioned, is a special use permit application for a clean rubble landfill and a soil borrow site. The application was made by Lexico for this site. The property owner is K&L Leasing, who is under the same control as Lexico. As mentioned, this case was heard on the January 11th meeting. During that meeting, there was questions about the existing KDOT entrance permit, i.e. the limitations on access to for trucks. So it was requested to be tabled at that meeting to allow the applicant more time to update or upgrade their entrance permit through KDOT. It was tabled to the March 18th meeting. The applicant let you guys know that he still hadn't received approval from KDOT. Yet, I do know, and the applicant, I believe, is here in attendance and can speak to this again, that they did get the traffic study submitted to KDOT. They just haven't gotten a response back yet. However, we are kind of at a limitation on the number of tablings that can happen for this application. But to be clear, there's no new additional information that has been provided to staff at this time. However, staff did update the proposed conditions that we provided at that
Can you
January
put that
11th
up,
meeting.
please?
Yes. Thank you. To include some of the requested changes from the applicant at that meeting, specifically number 1, the hours of operation, not limiting it to a certain period of the year. And then number 3, we changed that condition to say the traffic to the site shall be in compliance with the approved highway access permit from Kansas Department of Transportation. If the access permit is amended, the new permit will need to be submitted to Leavenworth County Planning and Zoning within 30 days of approval. In addition, we added a few additional conditions that we are now placing on all special use permits, specifically that the applicant shall not cause or allow any public nuisance to exist on the subject property, and that the special use permit shall be granted subject to revocation upon the breaching of the conditions set forth. There's more language in that, but I won't get into all that with you unless you have questions. In regards to staff's original recommendation, that hasn't changed. We are still recommending denial based off of the comprehensive plan. So if you guys have any further questions, please let me know. Again, I do think the applicant is in attendance if you have questions for them.
Any questions with staff?
I did the Type 5 permit, just 45 minutes.
Sir, you'll have your chance.
So, one big issue that I saw right off the get-go, where it says landfill, as I just sat at the state capitol for 13 hours learning the difference between a landfill and a disposal site. There's a huge difference in that terminology that I wasn't even aware of. That should probably be addressed, because a landfill can take whatever they want. A disposal site is limited and guidelined by KDHE. Although they do a fantastic job of keeping their eye on things.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. However, in regards to our land use or table of uses, we don't have the differentiation like the state does between a landfill and a disposal site. We just have what we call as a landfill in the use table, which disposal sites also fall under that classification. However, part of the conditions we do have is that all items disposed of on site must comply with Kansas state statutes in regards to clean rubble landfills, which is what they're requesting here. So that is built into the proposed conditions that have been provided for you.
Okay, yeah, definitely is, yes. Any other questions of staff? Okay, are there any other questions or comments, commissioners? Sir, would you want to come up now and state your name and address? And we do want to ask you about the conditions that are now proposed.
Matt Cause, 29136 183rd Street, and I'm the Vice President for Lexico and K&L Leasing. And I did just get our approval for the KDOT Type 5 entrance permit about 45 minutes ago.
Okay.
So I didn't get it. I've been pushing for the last 3 weeks. And
Well, that condition is there, but now you filled it.
Correct.
So you just have to turn it in. Anything else on the requirements? And how many are there?
Oh,
There's quite a few, I know.
27.
27
There was
requirements.
nothing else.
Have you seen them all? And
I saw them all, and I didn't have any problems with any of
Okay.
those requirements.
Would it be possible to take a look at that document?
Yes. I just brought 3 copies. I don't know who all.
That's fine. Yeah.
Oh, we pass whatever. Thank you, man. From a type 4 to a type 5 with following use for maintaining.
So Matt, when you talked to us about this a few months ago, you talked about it may or may not even be used.
Correct.
Or, I mean, you're setting the conditions that it could be used, but it
Correct.
may not even be used.
There's a good chance it's not going to be used right away, but if the opportunity comes and we get the special use permit, it could be, but there is no current plan right now for it to be used. And I just wanted to go ahead and get the special use permit because sometimes if a project comes up, we got to move fast. And so I wanted to go ahead and, as you can see, I mean, it's taken me 5 months to get to this point, and sometimes I don't have 5 months to wait on a project. If I need to get material or dispose of material, I need it quicker. We're only within 30 days. So that's why I'm applying for it, to where if the project does come up, I got the right permits in place to do it.
What was majority of the material again? It was like asphalt.
It'll be
What was majority
asphalt,
of it?
concrete, rock, and clean dirt, clay and topsoil.
Pretty much same stuff they're dumping out in the Easton landfill. Well, that's what's supposed to be going in there.
That one's building material.
Well, like I said,
Is going in as road material.
road material.
It's more like
Big-
the one right up the road, right?
Correct, and we operate that one too.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
It's for your company's use only.
It's for
not
our
accepting
company's
any
use
outside.
only. Nobody else will be allowed to dump in there.
That'd be
It won't be
distinct
open.
difference as well.
Yes.
Any other questions of the applicant?
No.
Thank you, sir.
What did
Thank you.
Say, I'm sorry. What did you say the number of trucks per day? If you go to using that thing, what do you? What
I mean, the max, I got the Type 5 permit, the KDOT Type 5 permit, which allows 50 to 499 trucks per day.
Oh.
I never expect to meet the 499. I went back and looked at the one we're running now, and in the last 15 years that we've ran it, the most we ever had was 150 trucks a day going in and out of it, and that was one time for 4 days. And most of the time, it's 1 or 2 trucks a day. If you do get a project, we might have 20 to 40 trucks a day. But the rare occasion, that's why I wanted to get the Type 5 permit, for if the rare occasion does come up, I got the access for it.
This won't be visible from the highway, will it?
No, one of the conditions was I have to provide screening, so you can't see it from the
You're
highway.
gonna leave a lot of those trees that are there now?
Yes, we're going to leave them all in. We tore out a little bit too much, but we're going to plant those back to create screening, so you won't be able to see it from the highway.
So will the neighbors around have to deal with all the trucks and the traffic? Is that still an issue? Is that?
We did some clearing. I know last meeting there was concerns about that curve going around, and we've talked to the adjacent property owner, and we got permission to clear trees. So there's a lot better sight visibility looking up the hill for trucks pulling on and off the property, and there shouldn't be any problems with that now.
So one of the conditions is the times. So is it? Okay, so it is Saturday. So it
Yes.
does include weekend.
Saturday.
Saturday, not
Saturday,
That's what
not
I'm
Sunday.
saying. So that's weekend. That's
Saturday. would be-
Anything else?
Any other questions of the applicant? Thank you.
Thank you.
I will entertain a motion.
I had a quick question for staff. That extra language in the conditions, was that part of what Mr. Van Paris was talking about, of adding that to SUP so that the county was in a better position
Yes, that is
to
exactly
revoke
where
if
that comes
needed?
from.
Okay.
Mhm.
I just wanted to make sure that was addressed.
I have one question. This would be for for Misty. Do you feel if they're not doing what they say they're going to do, does the county now have the power to shut this thing down, or are we going to draw this out for a year before we can do anything?
I think that's a good question,
I mean, is
Commissioner.
there enough stipulations in here that when we send an inspector out there and we find something that's not supposed to be there, and we get, oh, oops, we didn't know that's there, my bad, Do we have to come back and, well, we can't, well, now we're going to get sued. Now we're going to drag this out for another 7-8 months. Now we drug it out for 2 years. They're still dumping whatever they're not supposed to be dumping. What can we do legally as good citizens for our county to make sure this doesn't happen?
Well, I think that's a good question, and everything that this commission is ultimately concerned about when you consider it. I do think that the new language we put in the stipulations gives the county more clear authority on how to address violations. I'm not going to say that it would be quick because everybody's entitled to due process, but it does set the stage to better enforce the county's rights.
Any other questions before we have a motion?
What did you say the staff, you said you non-concurred with it, you non-supported it based on the current
The
land and use
comprehensive
map?
plan, yes.
Just like every special use we
Yeah.
get,
Yeah.
with a comprehensive plan. But, you know, we also allow special use permits, so I don't know how that doesn't,
We've kicked that horse.
how
for a
that
few
works.
months.
I mean, we've got this, we kicked this horse down the road so many times. So. Take a motion.
I'll make a motion, we approve DEV 22156 per staff recommendations and conditions.
Okay. There a second?
Second.
Have a motion on the floor with a second to approve case number DEV 22156 special use permit for the extraction of raw material site, landfill and soil fill, borrow site, and clean rubble landfill. Is there any further discussion? A roll call vote. Marcus Major.
No,
No? And the reason?
nothing personal at all. I didn't want another landfill that close to our Leavenworth city line and district. I just didn't.
Okay.
I'm not real crazy about landfills right now.
Jaden Bailey.
No. Character of the neighborhood.
William Gutchalk.
Yes, in spite of the issues with the character of the neighborhood, I think that they have proven themselves capable of delivering on an ability to have a site like this and make it ready for a residential area.
Jeff Spink.
Yes.
Robert Owens.
No.
Will Smith.
Go ahead, Will.
Yes.
Yes? Okay, we have 1, 2, 3 no, and 3 yeses.
You are the tiebreaker.
I will vote yes. So it carries 4 to 3.
4 to 3.
Okay, the Board of County Commissioners will consider this item no earlier than June 7, 2023 at 9 a.m. Leavenworth County Courthouse. Kansas law allows a petition protesting decision of the Planning Commission to be filed. That petition must be filed within 14 calendar days, the date of this hearing. Additional information, filing a protest petition can be obtained in the Office of Planning and Zoning. Okay. On to the next one. Leavenworth County Planning Commission will now consider case number DEV 23-025 special use permit for riding stables and clinic for horses and heroes incorporated as outlined in the posted agenda. It requires a public hearing. Public comment portion is listed to 3 minutes. Staff report.
Before you is case DEV 23025, which is a special use permit request for Horses and Heroes, Inc. This is a request for a land use type that fall under riding stables and a clinic. The business is actually an equestrian therapy business. The applicant has provided a narrative. They assist veterans and emergency responders with therapeutic processes that involve horses as part of treatment. They actually have a different site, which is the traditional office setting. However, they are proposing this site to only be used for the equestrian therapy portion of their business. The property in question is shown up there for you. It is 16740 McIntyre Road. It is zoned rural residential 5. The surrounding area is also zoned rural residential 5. Obviously, the proposed uses require a special use permit in that zoning district. The property in question is approximately 10 acres in size. There's an existing single-family house with accessory structures on the property. The applicant has already applied and received a building permit for the barn structure that they will be housing the horses and doing some of the operations out of. However, within the narrative, they also indicated maybe in the future, within maybe the next year or so, they would extend that out and add in some offices, a bathroom, and I think a meeting space as well. Staff recommends that condition be placed on the proposed conditions that a commercial building permit will need to be installed. If that extension does occur, it needs to meet our building codes, and that a septic system needs to be installed that is appropriate for a commercial use. In addition to that, they are proposing that I believe it's 6 people will be coming to the site, up to 6 people a day. 3 of those are going to be employees, 3 of those would be clients. That's kind of the average number that they came up with. The site has more than adequate space for parking, and they're proposing to include 5 parking spaces on their site plan, which is before you right now. 2 of those would be 88 spaces, so of course those would have to comply with ADA regulations on size and such. So just going through some of the factors, this property is not near any cities. The city of Lansing is approximately 1.6 miles to the east, so it's not in an urban growth area. Adjacent uses are mostly residential and agricultural in nature. And again, like I said, all the areas are parcels around there zoned RR5. There is a special use permit for a riding stable directly across the street. Similar in nature, a little bit different, but very similar in use. The property, like I said, is 10 acres. It'll access off McIntyre Road, which is a paved local road. They are not proposing that a lot of trailers or such will be used for this property. The horses will remain on site, with the exception of maybe if it has to go to an equine vet, they can take them off in trailers, but that's far and few between according to their proposal. They anticipate most of the traffic to the site will be in pedestrian vehicles, not commercial vehicles. So they did, Public Works did request a turning radius, and they provided that, and it meets the requirements for Public Works. So they did not have any questions beyond that. In regards to potential detrimental effects on the surrounding properties, while there might be additional noise, staff does not anticipate excessive noise that would create disturbances for neighbors. We already went through traffic. Lighting, they're proposing security lighting on the structure. However, no additional lighting is proposed beyond that. But of course, staff has our recommended condition that we place on all of our special use permits to address that. They are not really proposing any outdoor storage. Their equipment will either be stored in the barn or under an overhang that currently exists on the barn. Visitors, employees, we went through that. And then waste, as mentioned, if they do have that extension, they will have to put in the appropriate septic system for that type of use. In the interim, they are proposing that the bathrooms within the house could be used by staff and visitors for the proposed business. Our code enforcement or sanitation individual reviewed that. He said, fine, as long as if there are issues with the existing system, they will have to come up with an alternative if that becomes a problem. So, other than that, the only issue staff foresaw was that it does not conform to the comprehensive plan. In regards to operation hours, they are proposing to operate Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. till 5 p.m., so typical business hours. Other than that, can't think of anything else besides staff's recommendation, which is denial based off of the comprehensive plan. So I knew the applicant is in attendance, so they can answer any of your questions.
Any questions, staff, before we continue? Upon opening the public comment portion of this hearing, those of you who wish to speak either for or against this item upon recognition, give your name and address each time you get to speak. This is necessary since the public hearing is being recorded. The public comment portion of this hearing is now open. Will the applicant please come forward?
Thank you. My name is Julie Baker. My address is 16740 McIntyre Road, Leavenworth, Kansas. I'm the founder and director of Horses and Heroes.
Okay. Can you put the requirements up? Did you, how many requirements are there?
There are 16.
16? Have you reviewed all 16 of these
Yes,
requirements? Sir. And any questions on any of them?
No, sir.
You're all good with all of them?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You have anything to add to what was already given in the report?
Well, I understand that per Amy, the zoning is not perfect. However, for the nature of our work that we do using horses, we need to be in an area that provides enough access to the facility, enough space for the horses. Obviously, we can't go to any corner lot and do what we do. So we've been practicing this type of therapeutic modality since 2015. We were leasing a space, recently purchased a space in hopes that we could continue and have, greater sustainability with our nonprofit.
Okay. Any questions of the applicant?
I'm your neighbor across the street.
Oh, you are?
Yes.
Nice to meet you.
Welcome to the neighborhood.
Thank you.
Were you notified of that?
I'm sorry?
Were you notified in writing?
Yes, I was. Received it.
Made sure.
What?
I made sure he got a letter.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right. And
across the
that
street.
doesn't disqualify him for this, right?
No, he doesn't
Okay.
have any financial.
No, he has no financial gain or anything.
Nope. No.
Any other? Any
I don't
questions?
see any. I don't see a whole lot of traffic that goes in and out. I know you briefed that there could be, but I can say that from what I've read and asked questions and made phone calls of what you all are doing for our veterans, for PTSD and our veterans, it's pretty amazing. That it's not a horse riding school or a horse riding barn. It's surely therapeutic. I mean, they walk the horses around. It's not like the neighbors on the other side of the street. That's horse riding. That's lessons. That's all kinds of stuff. So pretty amazing what you guys are able to do with horses and for our military veterans, for all our services, and first responders, veterans.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for saying that.
Any other questions for the applicant? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
We will now hear from individuals wishing to speak in favor of this request. Anyone here wishing to speak in favor of this request? We now hear from individuals present wishing to speak in opposition to this request. In opposition. Is there any additional information to be presented?
No, sir.
The public comment portion of this hearing is now closed. Are there any questions or comments, commissioners? Or I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve case DEB 23-025, Horses and Heroes, as presented by staff, including golden factors.
Okay. Do you have a second?
I'll second. Or, go ahead, Marcus.
Motion and a floor and a second to approve case number DEB 23-025, special use permit for riding stables and clinic for horses and heroes, Incorporated. Is there any further discussion? Have a roll call vote. Marcus Major.
Yes.
Jaden Bailey.
Yes.
William Gutchalk.
Yes.
Jeff Spink.
Yes.
Robert Owens.
Yes.
Wolf Smith.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. The Board of County Commissioners will consider this item no earlier than June 7th, 2023 at 9 a.m. in the Leavenworth County Courthouse. Kansas law allows for a petition protesting the decision of the Planning Commission to be filed. That protest petition must be filed in 14 days of the date of this hearing. Additional information on filing a protest petition can be obtained in the Office of Planning and Zoning. Good luck to you, ma'am, and planning right here on June 7th. You can be notified from Planning and Zoning or the commissioners. Nothing else at this time for the meeting, so we are adjourned.